Hi Instagrammers, hi Facebookers, hi YouTubers. How are you? It's been a while since I did a video, and I promised on the last one that I would try and do them more regularly, but I have been really ill again. I don't know what's going on, but every sort of 6 months or so, I get really ill. It's either sciatica or it's some sort of cold flu that's going around. So for about the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been really ill, and I still can't taste or smell anything at the moment. I've got no. There's nothing going on up here. I can't taste or smell anything. It's really annoying me, but I feel fine now. Whereas a few days ago, I was really quite poorly, and all I wanted to do was sleep all day and had a banging headache. And all my friends have come down with it as well. So I don't know what's going on, but we've all been really poorly. So yes, I promised to do a video, and it was going to be on Scotland's GRA bill, the Gender Recognition Act legislation that the Scottish Parliament passed with overwhelming support, voted for in favour of by many people across all political parties, even Tory. And I was going to wait until we had heard from what the government was going to do. And now we know what the government's going to do. They're going to block it. So they've issued a Section 35. This is the first time a Section 35 has ever been issued or called for in British politics since devolution in 1997, 99, I think. Around about 99 was since devolution. So it's a big thing. And a lot of people are going to die on this hill, not literally speaking, but it's the strategic hill in the warfare for trans rights and equality. I don't know really what to say about it that hasn't already been said. I was going to basically say things like, yes, I support the Scottish legislation. We shouldn't need a bit of paper to be able to say we're women and all the rest of it. Or we're men, or non-binary people aren't even mentioned in this legislation. And I was going to do all that, but it's been a while since the legislation came down, and it's been a while since Parliament, the UK government in London ruled on what they were going to do. So now we have to wait for a court case. So it's going to go to court. So we have to wait and see what the courts say. Whether Scotland can pass it and the UK Parliament can enact this legislation, this Section 35, or whether they can all jog on. We now have to wait for, I think, the Supreme Court in London to rule on the matter. Yeah. There has been one YouTuber who I follow briefly. Excuse me. She's a trans girl. She's a lot older than me. And she did a video where she basically disagreed with self-ID. And she came up with all the arguments that the turfy lot use against us that haven't been borne out in any of the 13 odd countries that have passed this legislation and have these self-ID laws. And so I was really disappointed in her content. I don't know if she'll ever watch this or anybody knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say her name. But if she does come across this video and she does realise I'm talking about her, you really are the sort of trans girl who's done all the legwork and raised yourself up and put up with the crap you've had to put up. But as far as you're concerned, you're pulling the drawbridge up behind you. I'm not a woman. You're not a woman unless you've got a vag. Stuff like you can't call yourself a woman unless you've got a gender recognition certificate like I've got. I don't care if you can't afford it. We shouldn't have self-ID. What if men want to pretend to be women and go? It's all the crap. And she was coming out with it. Now, I don't know if she was planning to do a grift and she suddenly realised she could get more views by going right-wing like a lot of people on the left. Some people on the left tend to do. But it just horrified me that a trans woman would come out with such crap. And just repeat the same bullshit tropes that TERFs use at us. Even though she's done videos where she criticises TERFs. You use the language of a TERF. Use the examples of TERFs. You're no better than they are, and you're a trans woman. You were talking like that. So yeah, I've come across. There was another trans girl from America. This trans girl I'm talking about is from the north of England. I came across another trans girl the other day who was American, who was talking about autogynephilia. What? What? So yeah, as you may have known, realised, I've been doing deep dives on YouTube as it's sat here playing, and there's a lot of good trans content out there. It's kind of like the same sort of stuff, 2 weeks on hormones, 2 years on hormones, my surgery regrets, the standard sort of videos. But there are some little gems out there, especially some of the ones about dating and stuff like that, and you can learn and pick up a few tips and stuff. But yeah, I wanted to do a deeper, long discussion on the Gender Recognition Act, but you all know what's going on. You don't need me to tell you. It's all been breaking, and there's nothing really to tell at the moment. We are at an impasse. We have to now wait for the court case. So I suppose you'll have to wait until the court case is, and I can pick up where I left off from here. But until then, there's not really much to talk about. There was a couple of things that were interesting that the Tories tried to kind of throw out there to hopefully deflect from the GRA legislation, and that was that they were going to include trans people in the conversion therapy ban. That seemed like a win of sorts, but they've merely announced it. They've not really gone into much detail, so it's a bit difficult to see where that legislation's going and how well that'll be put through, and if they'll stick to what they've said and put trans people and ban it for all LGBTQ people. There's a lot of crap going on both sides of the Atlantic to do with the trans community, and to do with the broader LGBT plus community as well. I mean, I don't know whether you folks watch a lot of American content, or you're American and you watch some British content, but you can really see that the culture wars between going on in our two countries is it's just tiresome, and I'm getting fed up with it. And so, coupled with being ill and being depressed with everything that's going on at the moment, it's not been a good year so far. I haven't been able to do as much content. I do have some videos scheduled. I'm going to do one on my experience of trans healthcare. I know Abigail Thorne's done one, and her one was absolutely fantastic. But I just wanted to do one from my perspective, and from my partner's perspective, and from my friends' perspectives as well, who are trans. So I was going to do a video on that. There's a number of things I want to do, so just keep looking out for my videos. There are going to be some popping up soon. I just hope I don't get sciatica or ill again. I didn't have my depot for ages. Oh, my mate, the psychosis. Seriously. It gets ridiculous after a while. You don't know what's reality and what's not. So yeah, things have been a bit up in the air and not so great. And we don't really have any great news to speak of. We're just still getting attacked in the media, still being held up as some sort of pariah in the state. It's got to the point now where people are talking about genociding trans people. There's a kind of cultural genocide going on anyway. There is a cultural genocide going on, trying to scrub us from public spaces and stuff, forcing us back into the closet. You just got to stay strong. You just got to fight. And those of us who have voices and can fight, we should stand up a bit more, I think. There's been a lot of protests across the country for trans rights in the last few weeks, which is brilliant to see. But I'm only tending to hear about them days after they've taken place. I know there's a number of websites and Twitter pages to follow. So if you haven't listened to it, get on the podcast What the Trans. That's like my go-to news program for the trans community. I listened to them last night and got some of my information from here. But as I say, there's not really much to tell. We've got to wait for the Supreme Court hearing now. it was brilliant that Scotland passed that legislation. But even in Scotland, it's as hard over there to seek overall support in the community, in the broader society. The TERFs, the gender critical lot, they still have quite a big sway on the media, and outside of mainstream media, we only have platforms online and social media, so it's a bit difficult to get your message across to everybody. So we have to go that extra yard, that extra mile. I tell you what was nice to see, there was a protest in London for trans rights the other day, an NHS protest, I think, and the Young Socialist Party was there. That was good to see. I saw that on social media. That was really good to see. Thanks for turning out for that, folks. I'm going to do more videos, I promise. But please bear with me, because I just haven't been well. And I keep getting ill all the time, and I don't like it. It's really nasty. It's like every 6 months something goes around and gets me a double whammy, and then I'm laid low for like 2-3 weeks. Don't like it. So please look out for my videos. I'm sorry this one's a bit rambling, but I needed to get one out as quickly as possible and to let you know I'm still kind of here and I'm still doing stuff. I will try and post more. I will try and get my experience of trans healthcare out within the next 2 weeks. It may come out sooner, it may not. It all depends on how this week goes. I've got some irons and fires. I've got to do a few things this week. Okay, thank you very much for listening to my ramblings. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye, everybody.